Good morning. Now, this is our last class on the topic rotational mechanics. Today, we are going to learn about flywheel. This experiment you will do it in your lab, so it will be more clear when you do the experiment. Now, we are going to learn about its theory, that is just the derivation or how to determine the moment of inertia of a flywheel. Now, in the figure, you can see a flywheel. Flywheel is a massive wheel having a long cylindrical axle passing through its center. See, this is a flywheel and you can see a long cylindrical axle which is passing through its center, this one. Now, flywheel is mainly used in stationary engines and in order to make the running of the engines smooth and steady. They also prevent sudden stopping of machines when thrown into gear. They are constructed with large moment of inertia by keeping their mass mainly at the ring. That is, their mass is concentrated at the ring. Now, since moment of inertia is large, kinetic energy of rotation of the flywheel will also be high. So, the more the kinetic energy, it will be more difficult to stop the flywheel and hence it will serve the purpose. That is, it will help the stationary engines to run smooth and steady, and also it will prevent sudden stopping of machines. Okay, when you put gear. Now here we discuss experimental method to determine moment of inertia of a flywheel. This is a schematic representation of the experimental setup. Now the flywheel is held with its axle in a horizontal position at a convenient height h from the floor. See, this is a flywheel and this is a long cylindrical axle passing through its center. Here when you look closely you can see that a mass is attached to it. That is, there is a wire is wounded and at the end of the wire you can see a mass. It is suspended from a height h from the ground. Okay. So to reduce friction, the wheel is mounted on ball bearings. One end of the light cord is loosely looped around a peg on the axle. The cord is wound round the axle n number of times and a mass m is suspended from its free end. That is what I have just told. That is a cord. It is wound over this axle. See, the cord is wound over this axle n number of times and at the free end you can see a mass m suspended and it is suspended at a height h from the ground. Okay. Now let r be the radius of the axle. Now what you do next is you allow the mass to fall down. That is, you allow this mass which is tied up to fall on the ground freely. Now when the mass fall down to the ground, that is, as the mass descends, what happens to the flywheel? The flywheel will start rotating. Okay. So when the flywheel start rotating, what happens to the cord that is wound on the axle? It will unwind. Okay. It will unwind and the so and the as the when it will unwind and the mass will fall to the ground, but the flywheel will continue to rotate for some more time and we will count that number of rotations as n. Okay. Now time taken for to complete the rotations will be noted as t. Okay, that is what which is written in this paragraph. That is, the mass is allowed to move down from rest as a mass descends. Descends means as it falls down, the flywheel will set into rotation. When the mass has descended through a height h, the cord will completely unwind and leaves the peg. The flywheel continue to rotate for some more time. We count the number of rotations n made by the flywheel after the detachment of the cord and the time taken t is noted. So what you do is, here you can see a flywheel, then a cylindrical axle is passing through its center. Now you are suspending a mass at the end of the cord. That is, a cord is wound over this axle and at the end of this cord you are suspending a mass of small letter m and it is at a height h from the ground. Now what you do is you allow this mass to fall to the ground freely. When this mass touches the ground, what happens? This cord will unwind. Okay, and the flywheel will start rotating, and let count the number of rotations made by the flywheel as n and count the time taken to make this n rotation as t. Okay. Next, let v be the linear velocity acquired by the mass, and let omega be the angular velocity of the wheel. Now let capital I be the moment of inertia of the flywheel about the axis of rotation, and let F be the frictional force. Now the loss of potential energy when it falls on the ground will be mgh. What will be the gain in kinetic energy of the mass? It will be half mv square. Rotational kinetic energy will be half I omega square. Okay. Here we know that the cord is wound n number of times on the axle, right? And the wheel also rotates n times. So work done against friction during this n rotations is given by nf. So as per law of conservation of energy, you have to write this potential energy mgh is equal to sum of kinetic energy, gain in kinetic energy of the mass, plus half I omega square, that is rotational kinetic energy acquired by the flywheel, and nf, which is nothing but work done against friction. That is equation 30. Now it is clear that kinetic energy acquired by the flywheel at the moment it detaches from the cord will be equal to work done against friction. That is this one, half I omega square. What is it? It is the rotational kinetic energy acquired by the flywheel, right? That will be equal to work done against friction. And so that is equated half I omega square equal to nf. From there you can find capital F. Now you just substitute the value of capital F in equation 30. So your equation 30 will reduce to this. Now this one, half I v square, v is r omega. So v square will be r square omega square. Okay. Then after that you just simplify these two terms. Half and half. Half I omega square is common, right? So that will add to as 1. So take I omega square outside, 1 plus n by n remaining in the bracket. Now your final result will be this. So you have to study this equation, this one, equation 31, because there are a few more derivations in between which you need not study. So you just remember this equation 31. Now when the cord just leaves the axle, that is when the cord falls to the ground along with the mass, the wheel will possess its maximum angular velocity omega, and after making n rotation, angular velocity will reduce to 0. So assuming friction to be steady during this time, average angular velocity is given by, that is, the meaning is this much, that is I will tell you, that is when the wheel starts rotating, definitely it will have an angular velocity, and let it be omega. When the wheel stops rotating, what will be its angular velocity? It will be 0. So this is its initial velocity and this will be its final velocity. So what will be the average velocity? You just add these two and divide by 2. That is omega plus 0 by 2. That is what written here. Okay. So omega plus 0 by 2 is equal to omega by 2, which is again equal to 2 pi n by t. So that also you have to study. Omega is written as 2 pi n by t. So that is an expression. So from there omega you can find it as 4 pi n by t. Now you just substitute the value of omega in 31, and after substitution and simplification you will reach at equation 32. So this equation 32 is the equation to find moment of inertia of the flywheel. That is, if you know the value of n, capital letter N, small letter n, h and t, moment of inertia of flywheel can be determined. Okay, so when you do the experiment, this thing will be very clear. When you read it now, it will be somewhat difficult for you to understand the meanings and all. But when you do it by yourself in the lab, everything will be clear. Then it will be very easy for you to study the theory part. So for the time being, you just go through this. Okay, that is enough. Thank you.